But the point of it is that we have to start this project. We have to get going, and then after we figure out what we do good, we do more of that, and what we do bad, we try not to do that. Better if I waited until like everybody already started theirs, so that it was like the worst possible time to even start a podcast. I was like, that's rebel. That's the way I'm gonna do it. They didn't realize that advertising 80% of the time will not work. And a lot of times when it does work, all you're doing is breaking even.
Welcome to the Brian White Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome to the Brian White Podcast, where in this episode, which is, I think, episode number 1, we've done previous episodes, but you'll never see them because they weren't good. But anyways, this will be episode number 1, which is going to be all about me. And we have a person behind the camera over here. She's going to be asking me some questions. I don't know what they are. And we're going to be talking about some things. Is it going to be good? We don't know. But the point of it is that we have to start this project. We have to get going. And then after we figure out what we do good, we do more of that. And what we do bad, we try not to do that. So that's what I'm going to try to do, is just start the podcast, start talking and trying to figure out how to make the lights work, and over time, hopefully create a product that's better, that's more informative and entertaining. Why the podcast? Well, because everybody is doing a podcast. So I thought it would be a super smart idea to jump on the bandwagon with everybody else. But I thought it would be better if I waited until like everybody already started theirs, so that it was like the worst possible time to even start a podcast. I was like, that's rebel. That's the way I'm going to do it. And also because I wanted to get content out there that advertises my law firm and sort of like the services that we provide, so that you could see a little bit behind the scenes of, my personality, but also so that we can talk about our cases. Because if you have a case and then you hear me speaking about a case and you're like, hey, that's kind of like what happened to me, then I may be your guy. But they say podcast is good for marketing, but I don't know, because I've never done a podcast before. And it could be that it doesn't really do anything for marketing, but what it might actually do is it might actually help Google, because Google and other AIs apparently are monitoring podcasts, so they hear everything that's said in podcasts. So there's some kind of talk out there that podcasts can help to raise your search, and also as far as like AIs can read it, and if you talk with authority over certain things, then it may be able to find you that way and cite you that way. So is it good for marketing? For the consumer? I don't know. I think it depends. Probably not, because it's already oversaturated out there, but it could be good for if you say things that are very topical, and then Google or AI hears it and sees it, and then when a person is searching for that particular point, it pulls up a little clip. And that's what I think the value of a podcast is right now, little clips. So if you hear the whole thing, it may sound like a bunch of, that's too long and gobbledygook. Well, guess what? That's not what this is about. This is about clips, homie. But you can listen to the whole thing if you want to. But I think that this is more of a clip operation. Maybe one day we'll make it so good that people will actually want to hear the whole podcast as if it's almost like a movie or something like that. I can't wait to hear the Brian White Podcast. Maybe that happens, and if that happens, great. At this point, I don't think I'm that good, honestly. I would have to learn a lot more about how to be entertaining. But if you want to see someone fail, I mean, if you're one of those people that's like, let's see some complete, steaming pile of shit, then you could probably watch the whole podcast. My name is Brian White. I am a personal injury lawyer in Houston, Texas. I've been doing this for about 23 years. I'm board certified in personal injury trial law. Only about 5% of Texas attorneys are board certified. It's like the difference between, like a family care doctor and a board certified spine surgeon, if you had a spine injury, who would you go to? Hopefully the specialist. Well, 95% of attorneys out there are not specialists, newsflash. And also, there's a very big percentage of attorneys that don't even focus on one area. There's a whole bunch of attorneys out there who advertise for personal injury and car wrecks, but they also do immigration or even criminal. Guys, you only get good on things that you focus on. So if you hire one of those kinds of people, then you're probably going to get a mediocre result. Right. Oh yeah, but we're talking about me, not about me talking bad about other people. Okay.
That's right.
Okay, so
Not yet.
Okay, so I'm a father of 3 girls. I like to work out. I don't work out as much as I should because I'm busy at work and those kinds of things. I also like to eat healthy. I like to go out to eat here in Houston. I'm trying to hide this because I actually got some skin cancer cut off me.
What happened there?
Well, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, I had a little thing of skin cancer on my shin, and it was cut off. So I have to go back in, every year or so, or they say every 6 months, but I go about every year, for them to see if there's a reoccurrence. It was squamous cell skin cancer. And so I went back in to see my doctor, who, by the way, looks a little bit like Nicole Kidman, sort of. And so imagine you go into a room and they're like, take off all of your clothes, and the doctor will be in just a minute. And then she comes in and it's Nicole Kidman. And that happens every year. So anyways, I went to go see her. And oh, by the way, if you're seeing this, Dr. Davis, hi. No, there's nothing like that. It's like a very stressful situation, actually. I'm not going to be transitioning to the afterlife anytime soon. I don't think so.
Those billboards are going to be up there for a while?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think I'm good.
Okay. Well,
I just want to hurry up and get healed because I didn't. So I was going to go do my chest at the gym. I was going to go do bench press and those things, and I got sidetracked with let's just say turbo diarrhea because of a trip to Mexico. So I kept thinking, like, okay, when I get better, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go do chest because it's been like weeks and weeks. And Mexico has a certain kind of bacteria that just takes a long time to get out. I mean, it was terrible. So I haven't had a chance to go work out my chest in forever. And then I was thinking the morning of my thing, I'm going to go work out chest because then I'll be like recuperating, at the same time that I'm also recuperating. But I was too lazy to do that. So here's the thing about getting sick in Mexico, with stomach issues, is it didn't seem to make me lose any weight, honestly. It was just that, like, there is nothing positive about it. It was just negative, bad. It was just bad. It's just really bad. And then, the whole process, I would give it a 1 star. 100%. Yeah. Yes. I was.
you gotta frequently go to Mexico.
But she does go to all kinds of places with me. I go to, sometimes to work trips to places that I absolutely hate. One place that I absolutely hate going on a work trip to that they seem like they always want to schedule, Las Vegas. Dude, Las Vegas sucks. I don't know why anyone would go there for any reason other than you have to go there. It totally sucks. Yeah, for seminars, or maybe you have some kind of meeting or something that you have to go there for. But otherwise, people that go to Las Vegas like for pleasure, it is like one of the worst places. It's terrible. I mean, it's super hot. The only thing to do is to be inside the whole time, but you're stuck inside these hotels where the food is like terrible. It's bad for you. Trying to find healthy food there is like a full-time job. So like you might as well just bring food with you. It's just, I don't like Vegas at all. It's poop.
Personal injury attorney.
Oh, back to yes, yes. So I did not choose to be a personal injury lawyer at all. I didn't think I was going to do that. I went to law school thinking that I was going to go into oil and gas. I never thought I was even going to be an attorney. I thought I was going to go in. I was going to go to law school as a sort of like better MBA and go work for an oil and gas company doing business. But when I graduated in 2002, it was one of those oil busts. So there were no jobs. So, okay, I better become an attorney. And so I decided to interview for jobs. But the thing was that I was getting married. So I was getting married in early May, and I had to get a job before my wedding. And so I got a job before my wedding, and then it happened to be personal injury, and here I am, 23 years later. So the job that I got in personal injury was it was an insurance defense job, which is where most people start off, working for a big firm and representing big insurance companies. And let me just kind of back up. So actually, before that, I thought I was going to go into the JAG. I was going to go into the military. And so I thought, okay, that would be awesome. So again, I was going to be married in May. And so before you can go into the officer training program, you have to go get your physical. It's a process called MEPS. And so MEPS was only scheduled so often. And so like you go into a building downtown, and it's like a processing place where everyone goes in, they get your height and weight and ask you questions and have you do pull-ups and sit-ups and all the things that you see. And, I was doing great. But then they hook up your heart to an EKG, and they said that I had some kind of problem with my heart. So I was like, oh my gosh, well, because of that, I had to be cleared by a specialist. And unfortunately, I could not get in to go see a specialist until after my wedding. So I had the choice of, do I tell like my father-in-law, hey, I have an appointment with MEPS in a couple of weeks, or do I just get myself a dang job so that I'm not just like some bum? So I got myself a dang job. So that's why I didn't go into, like the military. I did actually go see the specialist for my heart, and it turns out it was perfectly healthy. He was like, I don't even know what they're talking about. You are super healthy. Months later, not months, maybe like a year later, one of my classmates from school actually go through MEPS and went into the military. And he was posting a picture of himself with a machine gun in Iraq. So maybe there's a reason why I didn't go. So anyways, that's why I went into personal injury law. It's really a field that chose me. I did not choose it. It's something that where you're usually the underdog. People hate us. I think the only kind of job that people hate more is like maybe a tax collector or something like that, but people hate us. And but we're performing a job that's very helpful for people who require it, and that is to try to get themselves compensation from an insurance company, and trying to get through all of the barriers that are up to that that are there. And so you have, every year they try to make it harder and harder for people to be able to recover money from insurance companies. So it's a hard job, but it's rewarding because we do actually try to help people, and we enjoy the fight. And it's also a job where you can use creativity and you get paid based upon the combination of your creativity and your productivity. Working for the insurance company for those years, first off, when I was working at those big firms, the firm that that I was with, every case that we got was a big case. So almost every plaintiff's attorney that I dealt with, I was handling one of their biggest cases in their whole firm. Okay, so if you can imagine, I had maybe 100 cases, and every single one of those cases was the biggest case, or pretty close to, in every single firm. So it was people trying very hard, always like super organized, because they were focusing on that particular case. Well, I thought that's how it was. So because I just thought that's how you handle things. But every now and then we'd come across a person who was just horrible. But the biggest thing was that we saw what the difference was between good attorneys and bad attorneys, and things that you did or that they could do, which would increase the value of a case, as opposed to bad attorneys who maybe did immigration also or whatever, and they didn't know what the hell they were doing, and they would get paid like 1/4 of what the case is worth. So I was like, I could easily do what the good attorneys do. So I decided to, start my own firm, and that was in like 2008. So I've been doing this for a long time.
Those attorneys would collect from the other side when you were on the
100%, yeah. So, a big part of it was writing checks to attorneys for amounts of money that far exceeded what I made, and I felt like they sucked, like they weren't good at all. I had to write them a very big check, even though I didn't want to. So, yeah, it was.
And it wasn't even your money.
It wasn't my money. I didn't want to. I was like, let's go to court, and they were like, no, you have to settle the case and write the check. And I'd be, that does kind of make you, after a while, be like, fine, I'll just go over there and I'll be the one getting the big checks. And that's how it's been since 2008.
You want to be on the winning side.
Well, there is no side that's the winning side in this business. It's possible for an attorney to lose a great case, and it's also possible for an attorney to win a terrible case. So a lot of it is based upon who actually shows up on your jury. That's a big part of it. And also the judge, because sometimes you may have a room full of people that you're trying to pick your jury from, and for some reason you just got a bad room of people, people that are biased. And so you're able to strike people for cause if they're biased, right? So under the law, you should be able to strike every single one of those people and then get to start all over again. However, what happens is that if you get a bad judge, what happens is, they'll see that you're going to strike everybody in the whole courtroom, and they're going to have to start all over again. So what they'll do is they'll call the people up and they'll say, hey, you said you couldn't be fair. You said this wasn't the kind of case for you, but would you follow my instructions, the judge? And they're like, oh, yes, I could follow your instructions. Oh, then you're perfectly fair, So what they do is they rehabilitate people. And what I found is a lot of times for no reason other than to show that they can. But if you don't get, like a judge like that, if you get one that's fair and, they see that a person is freaking biased and they strike them, then, things can usually go the way that you think it's going to go.
Interesting.
interesting. Is it really interesting?
So when you started your law firm, was it tough?
It was very, 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 very tough to start my law firm. I think 98% of businesses fail. But let me tell you about a law firm. And people think that this is like a good business. Guys, a personal injury law firm is one of the dumbest and hardest business models that's out there. And the reason why is because we only get paid a percentage of what we recover, which means that we sign up a case. We could work on the case for a year, for 2 years, and we don't get paid anything for that whole period of time. And then if we don't win, we don't get paid anything. We lose all of our money, including any of the money that we put into the case in order for it to work. So sometimes we may invest, $50,000 into a single case just to hire different kind of experts or do whatever you have to do, with the risk that the court will throw out the case. And if that happens, you don't get paid back. So in what other business out there do you sign up a client, work for potentially years without getting paid, and potentially don't get paid anything, while at the same time, simultaneously, people complain about your fees? And everyone out there thinks that it's unfair. Guys, we're getting 1/3. Sometimes we get 40%. But in every single one of those cases, people get way more money for their pocket than they could ever do. And so the reason why is because you cannot represent yourself in court. And the only way to force an insurance company to pay anything is to get a verdict, right? So they know this, that the only way that you can force, meaning the insurance company, understands that the only way that you can force them to pay anything is by getting a verdict. So when they're evaluating your claim, they're trying to see of what might happen if you go to the courtroom. Well, the first thing is, if you don't have a lawyer and you go to the courtroom, it's going to go pretty bad for you. I mean, think about just the practicality of it. What are you going to do if you have to call yourself as a witness? What are you going to do? I mean, you're going to go sit like in the witness stand and then question yourself and give answers or something like that? It doesn't work. So you have to have an attorney on your case to show the insurance company at a bare minimum that if you have to, you will go to the courtroom. And then it's like, check one, they can go to the courtroom. We can't just completely, screw them over. And there's a lot of other reasons why you want to hire a specialist, because you don't know what you don't know. Certain kinds of like car wrecks, you might have to do an inspection. Are you going to know what to do? Or if there is an explosion at a plant, you got to shut down the plant and get your people out there to go see what happened. Are you going to be able to do that? No, of course not. That's why you have to hire somebody. That's right. So, over the years of handling personal injury cases, you have a group of people that you work with. So you have your go-to people. So, if there's an industrial accident, you have your go-to people that you can call, and within a couple of days or maybe even a couple of hours, you can have them out there at the plant investigating. So what I would like to do is take a little bit of a detour on that and take the opposite of that.
Okay.
Instead of an encouraging thing, I'm going to tell you something realistic, and also not about law. That's kind of a little bit, but about, let's say, advertising. Advertising in law. Do you want to know the truth about advertising in law? The truth is that it's very hard, and for 80% of people, it doesn't work. And the reason why is because advertising is based upon buying, obviously, paying for all kinds of different ads. And so then what has happened is it's a market. So you have a supply of cases, and a whole bunch of people that are paying for ads to try to get those cases. And what that causes is like the free hand of the market, which creates a price. And that price is maniacal. It is so high that most firms, 80% of firms who even try to do it will go out of business because it's too high. So every free market rewards the best businesses that can run efficiently and get good results or have a whole bunch of capital, basically. So one thing is I see all these people popping up and trying to do advertising. And then I see them only for, like a year or so. And the reason why is because they thought it would be easy. They didn't realize that advertising 80% of the time will not work. And a lot of times when it does work, all you're doing is breaking even. So you have to be making money in other places. You can't just be advertising. You're just trying to make it one more day. So advertising is not the great thing that people think it is. So to wrap this up, what does my audience need to know? I have 6?
Yeah.
Oh, there's
I think 3 are.
there's 3 in here, and then to all one person watching this, what you need to know is you can do it, man. Like positive quote, insert here. What do people need to know? People need to know that I am starting a podcast and it's authentic. I'm trying to figure out how to do it. I'm not going to come here and act like an expert on things that I'm not an expert in order to sound cool. Like I've heard so many people do, like, you have to meditate. I meditate every day. And that motherfucker doesn't meditate, so I'm not going to be that person. You'll get a real person. You can maybe get some insights. I did do 100 million last year, so I think I have some good insights on how to run a business. So I think that's the takeaway, is that this is a work in process, and there's more to come. And remember, do it right. Get Brian White.
Thanks for tuning into the Brian White Podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification button so you don't miss an episode.